you like sci-fi, fantasy, action, adventure, and comic books? Then you've come to the right place for your weekly dose of anything and everything geek. So strap in and let's get this show on the road. Welcome to the Science Fictionary Podcast. Welcome back, sci-fi fans, to the Science Fictionary Podcast. I'm Andrew, and this is it. This is the new show. This is going to be a place for me to drop quick thoughts and just some interesting news blurbs that might pop up throughout the day. We'll be doing this 2 or 3 times a week. This is really more of a place for me to quickly mention things that are going on that may or may not make it into our main show when we record on Thursday nights. A lot of times there's a lot of things that are only interesting to me or that, that fall through the cracks on the main show. And sometimes there's just too much and we don't even get around to talking about a lot of these smaller news items. I'm going to start off by mentioning Ironheart. Ironheart has added directors Angela Barnes and Sam Bailey. These are 2 relatively unknown directors. The series, starring Dominic Thorne as the main character. The character's going to pop up in Wakanda Forever, which right now is slated to release in November of this year, but has been delayed once already and could see another delay. Given that they haven't started shooting this series yet, I would think that there might be a slight possibility of dropping this series right before Wakanda Forever comes out in November, but my guess is that it won't come out until early 2023. Ryan Coogler is who did Black Panther and doing Wakanda Forever, is handling the producing of this series. But I do wonder about 2 relative unknowns. Barnes has done a couple of things. She did an episode of Mythic Quest, which was fine. She's doing an upcoming episode of the series Atlanta. So I'm curious to see how that goes. This one is probably Marvel's biggest risk and has been for some time. It's not only a relatively unknown character, it's a very new character that really wasn't received all that well. Now, coming in and doing a series, you do have a chance to kind of reinvent that original story to try to gain some traction. Um, I I know that there's a lot of questions around this series, and I don't know if bringing in inexperienced directors is the right move. I don't think it's going to do anything to quell fears about this series, but I guess we'll see. Coogler is a fantastic director. He is kind of overseeing this, at least his production company is. So hopefully, with some experience watching over them, they'll pull something off. Next item, this is actually really cool. Captain America #1 sold for $3.1 million at auction here just in the last few days. This is one everybody knows. It's one of the most recognizable comic books of all time, with Cap punching out Hitler right there on the front cover. It's also the first appearance of Bucky Barnes. There's only 2 comics. I mean, that puts it at the 3rd highest priced comic ever sold, with only Action Comics #1, the first appearance of Superman, and Amazing Fantasy #15, which is the first appearance of Spider-Man, beating this out. So that is a really cool little piece of news, and it's kind of mind-blowing to think that a single near mint comic book could sell for that kind of price. But again, it's one of the most recognizable comic book covers in existence. Uh, Thor: Love and Thunder, we've got a little bit of new information talking about King Valkyrie. We have a new blurb on this series. It says, when a dangerous new visitor threatens the livelihood of New Asgard, King Valkyrie is forced to take up her sword once more to defend her people. We should be getting a trailer for this any day. We're getting close with the July 8th release date. We have to see a trailer to this sometime real soon, or you start getting into Solo territory with failure to market. Now, granted, this one doesn't need as much marketing as some of their other properties, particularly the Disney Plus series right now, but it's still a big budget movie. At some point, you're going to have to market it. But I say that, but it's not like Marvel drops the ball on their marketing very often. This one's going to be interesting. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm still not really sold on the whole idea of King Valkyrie. I thought we spent 3 movies preparing Thor to sit on the throne and kind of pulling him away and tearing the character back down. Sure, it serves as a way to extend his presence in the MCU, but um, it didn't seem like the logical course to have taken with that character. But hopefully it'll be great. I love Thor Ragnarok. Hopefully this is good. Next piece of information: Percy Jackson and the Olympians has its lead in Walker Scoble, who was recently on the Atom Project on Netflix. If you haven't seen that movie, go check it out. I had an absolute blast with that movie as far as like sort of family friendly action flicks. It's one of the best ones I've seen in a really, really long time. It's really this kid's first starring role, or not just his first starring role. It's like his first role in anything, and I think there's really, really bright things ahead for that kid. And this will be a great one. He was actually cast before the Atom Project came out, but they're just now dropping that information. Before we go, I want to talk about there's a lot of new stuff going on at the Red 5 Network tonight. Let's see what I have here on my list. Sidebar Cantina, they're actually live right now, may actually be wrapped up at the time that I'm recording this, but they are talking Dune. Be sure to go check them out. If you do check this out when I drop it, after the weekend has an episode tonight where they're going to talk one of the great John Candy films with Uncle Buck. That is at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. WSTR is working on a new series, and tonight they're talking Sith Inquisitors at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. The Salty Nerd has their late night podcast at 11 p.m. Central Time, and I'm not actually sure what they're talking about. And then we've got new episodes coming this week. Coruscant Radio Underground is going to drop on Friday, and we are talking about the whole concept of gray Jedi and just kind of the concept of gray in the Star Wars universe. We're also dropping a new episode of the Science Fictionary podcast on Thursday that includes David's non-spoiler breakdown of the Batman. So be sure to check those out later this week. And that's all for this episode. I'll catch you later this week right here at the Science Fictionary.